But I think one of the things that I've just recently experienced is the remote signing. I know that, we brought it in COVID, and then it sounded like there was talks of eliminating it. Now I've heard that we might be extending the policy for remote signing, but basically I had a client right now where they're selling property. The wife is moving back east prior to the possession date. So she's not going to be here on closing or even, weeks prior to closing, but he is. So what happens in a situation like that? Is remote signing still an option for home sellers?
I haven't heard any update that said that we're going to remove it completely. They have put
Okay.
in additional restrictions on ID requirements,
Okay.
but that so far hasn't been a big deal on my files. I will
Okay.
say with remote signing, one thing you have to be really keep in mind is that even though we can sign remotely, so I can watch you sign via Zoom, okay, you still have to courier the original signatures to me. I can't have a scanned copy. And depending on where you are, so I've had people sign, in Yukon or Northwest Territories, and they're in some small community, and they might not have overnight courier packages, right? So
Oh,
sometimes, even though they sign, they might have to, drive to the nearest big center and then have it couriered, and it might take several days. So just factor in we can't sign as quickly to the closing date on a remote sign, depending on where they are and how long it takes for a courier.
so it still has to be pen to paper. We can't do electronic signing.
No, it
Oh,
has to be pen to paper.
interesting. So what's the reason for that?
I'm
Is it
sorry?
just what's the reason that it has to be pen to paper versus like you and me go in? I share my screen with you, so you watch me electronically sign the documents. What's the reason you think that they're not allowing that? What's behind that?
You know, we do so much via electronic signatures nowadays. I mean, you can sign all of the real estate purchase contracts electronically.
Right.
They've been promising us since about 2010 that we'd make that change, but it just hasn't been made. So why we cannot sign electronically, I'm not sure why the holdback. Um, but yes,
Maybe
the
we'll
whole
we'll start
land
a
titles
petition here,
office.
okay?
Yeah, the land titles office has to keep all original documentation. And we
Mm.
even, after I've received it and signed it, I send it to the land titles in Edmonton with original signatures. I can't send scanned copies. I can't just keep that original. I have to provide it.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Awesome.